Hi, I'm Jim Anderson, partner in GoalBusters Consulting and president of the Association of Fundraising Professionals Northern Arizona chapter. And we had the good fortune to spend some time with three ACFREs today doing a webinar session on ethics, fundraising in the time of COVID. And those three ACFREs were also either currently serving as or former chairs of the ACFRE board. So these folks know a thing or two about ethics. I have the good fortune to have one of the panelists with me today. That's Alice Ferris, the founder of GoalBusters Consulting. She is an ACFRE and a CFRE and an MBA and the VIP of AFP, Pledge Drive Princess, Diva of Development. You know her by many names. To know her is to love her. It's Alice Ferris. So Alice, thanks for participating in the ethics session today.
Oh, thanks. And we figured we'd do a quick little wrap up to kind of hit on our key points to be able to, think about what it means to have ethics in the time of coronavirus. I mean, there were a lot of things that we covered today. So what were your key takeaways, Jim?
I think one of the things that we discussed today, and it's something that you and I have talked about for many years, Alice, and that is the fact that people have different perceptions about ethics depending upon where they are in their career. Now, I'm not talking about people with situational ethics. Those people are just wishy-washy and will do whatever serves them best in a given situation. But I'm talking about the difference between somebody who's been doing fundraising for many, many years and somebody who is new to the profession. Because when you're new to the profession, and if you are somebody who has strong morals and convictions and ethics, you see right and wrong, you see black and white, it's very easy for you to make decisions. But when you've been working professionally for decades, maybe if you're nearing the end of your career or having already retired, if we ask you the same question at the beginning of your career and then decades later, odds are the way you would answer would be different, because you might have seen it very clearly, yes or no, right or wrong, early in your career. But odds are, based on your life experience and your work experience professionally, personally, you see nuance that you didn't see before. So you see different shades of right and wrong. You don't just see black and white. Most people are good people. They are not morally corrupt. Yeah, I could name a half dozen that I think are, but most people are good people. And it's not that they choose to make unethical decisions. It is often that they are put in situations that they have little choice. And that's something that we fear that many of our colleagues are facing now.
If you're in a time of crisis, like we are in now, where people are losing their jobs, there's a lot of people who don't have employment right now or feel like their jobs are at risk. And if you're at a time when you need to keep your job, when you think about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and you're farther down on the hierarchy where you're talking about basic needs, you're talking about paying your rent or your mortgage, you're talking about feeding your family, and you can't afford to walk away from a job, it's really, it's all well and good for someone to say, well, if there's an ethical lapse, you should quit your job. But if you really need that job, that's a question that we considered if you really need that job, what do you do if you think there's been an ethical violation? And we talked a little bit about, document it. If you think this is something that's not right, write down as much as you can and share it with somebody you trust and start looking for a new job, because people are still hiring, even though we're in a time of crisis. So if you have a little bit of time, you can take that time to find something new to move into, but make sure you write down if you had issues with some kind of ethical lapse.
We also talked about fundraising for emergency needs, and we were seriously discussing the difference between what are legitimate emergency needs and what are opportunistic actions. If you do an analysis of your organization, or if your leadership does, if you're not in that role, and you recognize that budget is going to require you to cut back programs or eliminate them, require you to ask people to take furlough or put them on leaves of absence or even have to terminate them. If you've done the analysis and that is truly legitimately what you face, then you might not have any other choice. But we also have seen over and over again already in these few short months, so many people who are being are opportunistic, using COVID for personal gain, uh, um, preying on people's fears and vulnerabilities. And in the case of leadership of organizations, for profit and nonprofit alike, they are often making decisions that they've wanted to make all along. I've just been waiting for the opportunity to get away with this. And now they have COVID that they can use as an excuse, that they can blame. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm firing you, that person who I don't like and I've never gotten along with, because the COVID. No, no, that is truly unethical. And those would be some of those people I would consider morally corrupt. Alice, any final takeaways for you?
We all have different perspectives and life experiences. And in many respects, most of us are at different points in our career. And we all had just really open discussion. And I think that's the key thing about fundraising ethics, is that if you are someone who subscribes to ethics and understands the AFP code of ethics, the most important thing is to ask the questions, is to have the conversations. And it doesn't matter if you think you don't know the answer, if you can have those conversations and really kind of explore what might come out of it.
Thanks a lot for joining me. If you're interested in seeing the entire discussion, you can find it on Facebook. Here's hoping that you only get to work with ethical people.